Talk to me. Because if we are not nice to ourselves, if we do not believe in ourselves, like I mentioned earlier, why would anyone else do that for us? Our lives are our lives. We are ultimately responsible to live our lives to become our best versions of ourselves that we are proud of. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and your favorite yapper. Welcome to my detailed analysis of Bocchi the Rock episode 1. This is my first time watching, but many did say that this show is about social anxiety. And I have worked with numerous clients struggling with social anxiety. And to be fair, social anxiety is a spectrum. So I'm very much excited to share my perspective, clinically or otherwise, and maybe even helpful resources within the series. Assassination Zero, Vanessa Hera, Greg Boigi, and Foxglove Gaming are the sponsor tier highlights of today's video. I appreciate your support. Shout out to the best patron family and YouTube members. Sit back, and I hope you enjoy.
私の赤があの指に止まっていいのかな。そう悩んでいるうちに乗り遅れて、気づいたら一人ぼっちの子。
Very cute animation style. It's very kawaii-ness. So I like the narration. The fact that the episode is starting with her narration, self-narration, and saying that there's this girl wondering, is it okay for me to play? And she's scared, she hesitated, and therefore she missed out on the opportunity and became all alone. And this is a very important thing about social anxiety. It's invisible. No one else sees it. It's not like you're always visibly tremoring and shaking and shivering and being just terrified with the outward appearance. Remember I said in the introduction, social anxiety and many psychological situations and sufferings it's a spectrum. And spectrum is not a bad word. Spectrum literally means a wide-ranging, it's encompassing, it's a range. That's why it's literally a spectrum statistically. So some people with the most severe social anxiety can be visibly shown as scared, terrified, even petrified. But most people, of course, a lot of people are not visibly so, but yet it's an invisible suffering, invisible struggle. Only they know how scary it is to raise their hands in the classroom, to answer questions which they know the answers to because they did the work, but it's so scary, even on the invisible front, to participate and share their answers, which they know hourly with classmates and teachers, to even work in a group project because it's invisible suffering. And that's what the narrator / the protagonist is saying here, the girl who ends up all alone. And it's a vicious cycle. You get scared and you become alone. You become even more isolated. You become even more guilty and ashamed. Oh, I'm useless. I'm worthless. I couldn't even play with my friends. What am I good for? And then you become even more isolated and you become even more scared. So in a way, social anxiety is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more hesitating we become, the more opportunities we miss out on. And the more opportunities we miss out on, it reinforces our behavior of retracting or retreating, running away, because it's so scary. And there's no judgments, because who are we to judge other people's invisible struggle?
遠足の時に先生とお弁当のおかずを交換していた一人ぼっちな子。
Shout out to the teacher who's helping out the main character, since I don't even know her name yet. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're old, you've seen a bunch of the reactions I've done. And we know there's so many shitty adults, shitty teachers, negligent parents, abandonment issues, trust issues, trauma, attachment styles, etc., etc. So for the first time in a while, I'm very happy to see that there are responsible and caring adults, such as teachers who accompanied the main character for the picnics. So a little bit switch of pace.
部活も入らず、放課後は即帰宅。
And also, I know I'm pausing a lot because there's a lot, even 34 seconds in. Remember, guys, if you're new, I am the king of overanalysis and overthinking. And I'm here to normalize and empower everyone who struggle with overthink. With analysis and being analytical, overthinking can be a superpower. Or am I just saying that for myself? Anyway, did you guys notice how the main character, she's describing herself using a third person perspective? She, the girl who's all lonely, the girl who's afraid of participating, the girl, she, and so on. She's using third person pronouns and third person perspective. That in itself is a depiction of social anxiety. It's as if they're having an out of body experience. It's as if they're far removed from the collective reality with everyone else, being stuck inside, literally inside of their body, even though it feels like an out of the body experience because of social anxiety, social phobia, being scared. So even her pronouns usage, this third person narration, is indication of social anxiety and how lonely and how far removed it feels. Because please do not get it twisted. Being alone is not the same thing as being lonely. Aloneness is not the same as loneliness. How many people here can relate? We can be in a room full of people, but if it's not a meaningful social experience, if it's not a meaningful social circle, we feel utterly lonely, even though we're in a room full of people. Versus, we can be all alone, being alone by ourselves, but we can feel content, fulfilled, satisfied. If and only if we enjoy spending time with ourselves, with our thoughts, our feelings. And that also requires tremendous self-compassion, self-love, and doing a lot of work.
スマホに届くのは親からのメッセージかクーポンのお知らせだ
Ah,
け。それが私、後藤一人、中学1年生。
so the main character's name is Hitori Goto. Hitori. I'll try my best to not mispronounce names in this series, but hey, at this point, it's part of the meme culture. I feel like I have to mispronounce at least a name or two every series I begin. So Hitori and middle school. Middle school is tough, right? I taught middle school for about a year and a half when I was with Teach for America many years ago. And one psychological concept I want to kickstart is spotlight effect. Definition right here. Spotlight effect. According to Erik Erikson, Stages of Development, right here, very famous psychologist who talks about different ages, different age group have different stages of development. Adolescence, young adulthood, middle age, and so on. Spotlight effect suggests that people who are adolescents or young teenagers, they literally and cognitively feel like the world is watching them. And spotlight effect also worsens social anxiety. Imagine you're already afraid of talking to people. In addition to that, imagine the psychological phenomena that we call spotlight effect. You're not only scared because you already think everyone's watching you, now cognitively and neurologically, you feel like the entire world is watching you every step, every action, every move you make. Can you imagine the level of magnitude and the level of fear and scariness? That's spotlight effect. I'm sharing that because Hitori is a middle school student, and middle school students is when spotlight effect really begins and kicks in because they have developed a sense of self, and sense of self being developed, that triggers and activates the spotlight effect, just cognitively speaking. And last thing I'll say is she talked about it, right? My name is Hitori, and whenever I look at my phone, all I see are messages from my parents and coupons, no friends. Because remember, it's a vicious cycle, and in a way, in a very heartbreaking but self-fulfilling prophecy. More isolated they feel, the more scared they become to reach out. And the more scared they become to reach out, they also make no friends. And making no friends make them feel more lonely, make them even more scared next time, right? It's a cycle. So if we want to break that cycle, we have to forcibly break out of this cycle, but often requires exposure therapy, definition right here, which is one of the evidence-based treatments for phobia, in this case, social anxiety. And I use exposure therapy plus cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, definition right here. cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, is one of the golden standard for therapy. I do think it is over applied. It doesn't always work because every person is wholesomely unique, full stop. At the same time, CBT, the triangle of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, CBT suggests that our cognitions, our thoughts, impacts our feelings, and our feelings influence our behaviors. That's the cognitive and behavior trifecta. So social anxiety is often treated with cognitive behavior therapy in a lot of senses, and also exposure therapy. Because exposure, we have to get familiarized and seek discomfort if it is safe and appropriate with guidance of professional.
たまに思う。このままでいいんだろうかって。
Yep.
合わすのも苦手だし、ザ陰キャのような日々が身の丈にあって。
I like how Hitori describes herself as archetypical introvert. And a quick clarification, there obviously we've heard of two terms, introverts and extroverts, definition right here. There is a common misconception. Introverts are not people necessarily who's shy. And extroverts tend to be more outgoing, but it doesn't really mean they're not shy either. It's not really mutually exclusive. The actual definition is introverts are people who derive energy and life force from within. And extroverts are people who derive life force and energy from outside, from their friends and social network. So most simple way to kind of determine if we're introverts or extroverts, even though remember what I said, social anxiety is a spectrum. So is the human condition and the human experience. So most of us are both introverts and extroverts, but there are different percentages. Like for me, I'm like 85, 88% extroverts and 10 to 12% introverts. I like being alone. I enjoy my solitude, my aloneness, but I also very much enjoy social outgoings, meaningful events, because I am an extrovert, predominantly so. So like I said, introverts are people who derive from within, and extroverts are people who derive energy from outside. Here's a simple question. After a very long and stressful day at work or in school, do you prefer to spend time alone or with other people? If your answer is alone, then you're predominantly introvert. If your answer is with other people, because spending time with other people gives you that recharge, that energy, then you're an extrovert, right? Again, most of us are both, but this is a very simple yet helpful question to determine where in the spectrum do we lie. And that's what Hitori is saying. I'm an archetypical introvert. But remember, introversion does not necessarily mean we are shy or have social anxiety. That is not true.
学生の頃は教室の隅っこで本読んでるふりしてるやつでした。友達いなくて。
それが今では若者に絶大な人気を誇るバンドになったと。
まあ、バンドは陰キャでも輝けるんで。
そうなんですね。それではお聞きください。インストームスで。
I mean, that's a pretty obvious foreshadow setup. I'm guessing that Hitori is going to join a band in school as inspired by, I guess, whatever that member from Instorms, who sounds like also struggle with social anxiety. And he said it. A band is where even introverts or shut in like myself can shine. And we see Hitori's eyes get bigger because it's so validating to see another human, a fellow human being who struggle with the same struggle, invisible struggle as we do. Yet we see hope by seeing that person or those people stepping out of their comfort zone and getting to the promised land. And remember, going from where we are to the promised land requires a large leap, a leap of faith often. And a leap is not a small step. It often requires tremendous courage. But remember, guys, fearless is not real. Do is scared anyway. Because courage and bravery literally and innately requires being scared to begin with. So that leap of faith that I talked about to getting to the promised land, requires being scared. Because when we are scared, we can summon the courage to do what we didn't think we could do. Because remember, impossible is I am possible. Impossible, IMPOSSIBLE, impossible. I forgot how to spell for a second. We can reframe that as I am possible. That's part of cognitive behavior therapy. Reframing our thoughts and beliefs to springboard and motivate our action.
引き金。
どうした？
お父さんギター貸して。
いいよ。
ありがとう。
ギターに興味を。
バンド組んだら私みたいな人間でももしかしたら輝ける。
Oh, nice. That's a nice electric guitar.
決めた。ギター上手くなる。
頑張って。
ここでバンド組んで。
We have to believe in ourselves first and foremost for other people to believe in us. Think about it. If we ourselves do not believe in ourselves, why would anyone else believe in us? That doesn't make sense, right?
E A G なんで突然英語？それで文化祭でライブしてみんなからチヤホヤされるんだ。
And 3 years later, wow, this show doesn't mess around with time. So she was middle school and 3 years. Does that mean she's like early high school now? Maybe freshman, sophomore in high school? Oh, is she tapping?
おや？
Wow, got goosebumps. So before the opening sequence, the fact that she said crazy for me, ... that's a continuation of her very audacious, like the audacity, very ambitious dream from 3 years ago. And sounds like she's still a shut-in. She's still practicing guitar in silence, or not in silence, because obviously it's making noises, in solitude by herself. So I'm guessing that question, it's rhetorical, means she hasn't shined and people haven't cheered for her in a culture festival yet. But hopefully she does shine and people do cheer for her if she summons that courage to step on stage. But imagine the spotlight effect that I talked about. Imagine it's literally going to be magnified to the max if she were to perform on stage. But that's the magic of music. Being in this flow state, in flow, definition right here, flow state is like a peak psychological state that many world-class athletes and performers tap into. They become one with what they're doing, either playing sports or performance. Literally everything else melts away. There's only themselves, who they are, and what they're doing. They become one. That's flow state. Time flies by, and by the time you regain your consciousness, you're already finished. It's an amazing state, flow state. Anyway, so it looks like maybe and hopefully music will allow Hitori to tap into flow state, which empowers her and allows her to shine and perform on stage. Not for the sake of accolades and ego and, oh my gosh, Hitori, you're so amazing. Not really for that, but rather so she is less lonely and she can become and join part of meaningful social clubs and network, because meaningful life requires meaningful relationships. Full stop. Episode 1 is called Lonely Rolling Bocchi or Hitori. I think that's what he said, one of them. But rolling, does that symbolize and suggest like rock and roll? Is that the type of music that Hitori chooses? And the type of bands she's gonna either create or join? Rock and roll bands? Is that why it's called Lonely Rolling? I guess we shall see. Six hours every day. Oh my gosh. So I know I'm yapping extra much today because, again, like I said, I have a lot of clinical experience with social anxiety, and there's a lot here. And I'm sure most of us can relate to Hitori because most of us has gone through a stages in our life that we struggle with social anxiety. She said that I put in 6 hours every day for 3 years. She put in 168 hours every month, 12 times a year, and did that for 3 years, 36 months. And this is beautifully debunking that people who struggle with social anxiety, this invisible suffering, is weak. That is the dumbest shit ever. Did you just hear what she said? She just put in 168 hours of guitar practice every month, every day, 6 hours every day, every week for 3 years straight. Does that say she's weak? No. She has amazing work ethics. She's super disciplined. She's very mentally strong. At the same time, she does struggle with social anxiety. And our mental health conditions and our struggle does not mean we are weak. Quite the opposite. We are much stronger and resilient. That's why we're able to and we're willing to confront and trying to move through and fight our struggle, whatever that may be. That is not a sign of weakness. If anything, it is a sign of courage and strength. Please do not get it twisted. Hey, Hitori never performed at a culture festival, but at least her narration went from no music to more musical, I guess. That's a plus for the audience. So thanks, Hitori. You're performing in front of millions of audiences outside of this 4D dimension break. Also, you don't know about it, but we appreciate you progress. And it's exactly right. Whether it's social anxiety or other suffering, we have to die trying. Not literally die. Of course, there has to be safety psychologically, emotionally. That's why I often say seek discomfort, step out of your comfort zone. Try to take that leap of faith only if it's appropriate and if it's safe. Because safety comes first, period. But that's exposure therapy. What Hitori just said is die trying. What is she going to try? Forming a band and performing in front of people, interacting with strangers musically. So that trying is exposure therapy. We have to expose ourselves to what we are scared of. Whether it's snakes, bugs, talking to people, raising our hands, going on dates with girls or guys, whatever it is. Whatever we are scared of, we have to expose ourselves a little bit by little bit. We call it the incremental exposure. Definition right here. Incremental exposure. That's what we do in our exposure therapy procedure, right? Otherwise, the more we shy away from that thing, it's going to reinforce our behavior and our muscle memories. And it's going to get harder and harder to recondition, uncondition, and rewire as we get older. So find your support, whether it's your parents, if you're struggling with social anxiety, or whoever else. Find your support. You just need one person that believes in you, plus you believing in yourself, like I talked about, and just go for it. Hopefully with some supervision and some safety measure, right? So I believe in you, Hitori. From the closets with love. Go work. I enjoyed it. Crummy.
お父さんに勧められてギターヒーロー名義で弾いてみた動
Guitar Hero.
画もうこんなコメントついてる最近は再生数も結構あるしうま
Nice. That YouTube grind.
ネットには私に反応してくれる人がたくさんいるもん
Awesome.
この曲バンド組んで文化祭で弾きま
私だって努力はした CD 持って行ってグッズ持ってアピールしたり
Talk to me.
お父さんのリクエストです。
当時ハマってたで
Oh, Oh, yo, I have nothing against death metal or heavy metal music. It's just not my cup of tea, but I have plenty of friends who enjoy them. But can you imagine in Japan, in a traditional Japanese conservative middle school, you're playing death metal through the school radio? I'm gonna crush your skull! I mean, come on, Hitori. Of course, that's not gonna be a popular request. But again, what she's doing, she brought CDs and she put on her desk. She brought her tote bag and I think maybe with more of her music and CDs. And she's saying internally to herself, silently, come to me, talk to me, get my CD, become my friends. Again, this is the reason why people who struggle with social anxiety or whatever they're dealing with, in this case, social anxiety, we can never say they put no effort in. She does put effort in. Again, she put in 6 hours of guitar practice every single day for 3 years. She set an ambitious goal of performing on stage at the culture festival. She brought CDs in and X, Y, and Z. She did put a lot of effort in, but she still didn't take that leap of faith. It's almost like walking. She is walking, but she's walking on the same floor, almost like maybe moonwalking. Like shout out to Michael Jackson, just from obviously King of Pop. So it's almost like she's moonwalking. She is putting the effort and she is walking, but she's not really moving forward because she didn't take that leap. Because she's not scared of putting in the effort. Hitori is scared of talking to people and interacting with strangers. So yes, it's about putting in the effort, but we have to make sure where and how are we putting in the effort. Does that make sense? But at the same time, again, this to debunk the fact that people are always putting in the effort, often silently and often on an invisible front. But we cannot deny Hitori's effort or other people's effort otherwise. And did you see Hitori shutting down her laptop when she read the comment about someone? I think someone commented, I'm going to perform this song on Culture Festival. And she shut down the laptop. And she said, I did put in the effort. She was triggered, pun intended, with the song named by Instorms. Remember, Instorm's song was about trigger. She was triggered because she felt ashamed and guilty that she let herself down. She failed her goal. That's why social anxiety is also detrimental, and it worsens and exacerbates our mental health. Because remember I talked about, right? The more we feel isolated, the more scared we become to do that thing. And the more we don't do that thing, the more guilty and ashamed we become of ourselves. Worthlessness, uselessness, we're weak, whatever stories we tell ourselves. So that's why she was triggered. But she is right though. Like I said, she did put in the effort.
いいな、ライブ。
You can do it. One day.
その手があったか。
She found her band member on YouTube.
ない感が半端ない。
I'm a total rocker chick. I am dead. You see? Hitori is hilarious. Like, she's actually funny. I've laughed genuinely every time she's made a joke, even if it's self-deprecating often. So this is exactly a lot of these introverts. They have so much things to offer. Because my wife, she's an introvert as well. They have so much humor, so much personality, so much charisma, so many strength to display and show to the outside world once they step out of their comfort zone. So hopefully other people start to appreciate Hitori's amazing rocker girl, cool person persona and her humor when she steps out of her shell.
存在感すごい。これは絶対誰か話しかけてくれるはず。今年の文化祭は忙しくなるぞ。
Did you see how pale, almost purple, Hitori's face turned the moment she opened the door? All that confidence, all that aspirations and dream and all those literally melted away the moment she opens the door. I think that door opening is also very symbolic. It represents she's going from her comfort zone in the hallway where there's no one around to opening the door, sliding it open, and stepping into her classroom aka potentially the promised land that awaits. That requires tremendous courage. And the more she does that, the more she will become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And another fun fact, I like to sprinkle in random fun facts throughout the episodes to kind of support what I'm sharing, my analysis. Did you guys know that not all caterpillars comes out of their cocoon and become butterflies? A lot of caterpillars actually die and get trapped in their cocoon stage, and they become starved of nutrition and sunlight and food and water, whatever, end up actually dying. But the caterpillars that do break out of their shells, their cocoon stage, and become a blossoming butterfly, what do we see? Beautiful butterflies. Because butterflies in storytelling is symbolic. It represents transformation, renewal, and hope, a new beginning. So Hitori in that sense is a caterpillar. She's still in her cocoon stage. She hasn't come out yet. But I cannot wait to see her, hopefully through the support of her bands and friends she makes, hopefully, right? To come out of that cocoon, come out of her shell, and become a blossoming, beautiful butterfly that flop its wings and fly away. Because remember, not all caterpillars make it out, but the ones they do, they are beautiful. Oh, she's all alone in the back. Oh no. Oh, Hitori. The day's over. Oh. Oh, I really see my middle school self in Hitori, because I used to be really chubby and I was bullied severely actually because of my overweight. And any guys that is really fit and disciplined into their 30s, they used to be chubby and were bullied for their overweight. I promise you 99% of the time that is the case. So that was me, right? Because I was bullied because of my overweight, and that my overweight and me being bullied made me even more shut in and super afraid of social interactions because of overthinking, rumination, right? Definition right here. Ruminating and literally just thinking about our, I guess, deficiencies, what we could do better, should have, could have, would have syndrome. Just ruminating that over and over and over again. And the more we overthink, the more we have racing thoughts and rumination, the smaller we feel, and the more we want to retract and run away to our little shell, little bubble. So that's what Hitori is going through. Is she the YouTube commenter?
いや、分かってますよ。他力本願で物事うまくいくはずないって。ここに集う人たちは私と同じで孤独を抱えてるんだ。
Man.
あの人はきっと家庭内部。
Ah, I am dead.
書いたような家族団らすいません、勝手に私と同じとか言って。
Yo, Hitori tried to feel less lonely by categorizing a stranger. It's like, oh, he must also be lonely like me. Oh gosh, it's a perfect family. I'm dead. She's trying to make herself feel less lonely.
そうだよ。私の言わ
Bro, Hitori just broke 30,000 subscribers on YouTube in 3 years? Yo, Hitori, you got more subs than I do. Although I started this analysis anime reaction journey about 8 months ago now. But that's amazing, Hitori. Congrats, dude. See? If 30,000 people resonate and appreciate your music, your guitar hero-ness, I'm sure real people in real life also appreciate you. You got this, Hitori. Summon your strength. Take that leap of faith. That promised land will be worth it. I promise you.
私はネットだけ。もう学校行きたい。
No. No. Another one.
それ れギターだよね。弾けるの？
Or is she the YouTube commenter?
おーい。喋るの久しぶりすぎて声が。いきなりごめんね。私下北沢高校2年。1時2時か。
Sophomore.
後藤一人修華高校1年です。
Oh, she's a
ちなみに
freshman.
ひとりちゃんはさ。いきなり名前呼び。
So this is amazing. I don't know if she's gonna the blonde hair. I don't know if she's gonna be a main character, but remember what I said earlier. For those who are struggling with social anxiety, who need to step out of their comfort zone, their cocoon, their shell to become a butterfly, I said hopefully there's one person who believes in you. It could be parents or your friends or otherwise. I hope this one person, the blonde hair girl, can become that lifeline, that beacon of hope. And oftentimes, many introverted folks, because remember, introversion does not necessarily mean you're shy and a shut-in. It's not always mutually exclusive that way. But nonetheless, people who are extroverted, our strength is we are very outgoing. We can befriend almost anyone on the fly. I literally used to, I don't do this anymore, just because I already have enough friends and social circle, and I'd rather choose depth over width. Right? I'd rather deepen my meaningful social relationships because of my finite amount of time versus widening my social circle because there's a trade-off. Does that make sense? But I used to talk to guys who are peeing next to me at the stall just to strike up random conversation. Why? Because again, I used to be a social butterfly. So hopefully this blonde girl can become like me, the social butterfly, kind of help Hitori out of her shell. Give her that energy, give her that good vibes.
今困ってて無理だったら大丈夫。
Bands.
絶対大丈夫ないやつ。
思い切っていっちゃおう。お願い。私のバンドで今日だけサポートギターしてくれないかな。
Yay, here's the opportunity. Oh.
これからすぐライブ？何とぞ。
Come on.
ありがとう。早速ライブ発生。まだ何も言ってない。
So that's a really poignant and beautiful scene to highlight what I wanted to talk about. Do you remember all those times Hitori, yes, she put in effort, like I said, but she didn't put in the effort in the category of stepping out of her comfort zone. She put in the effort in a ways that she's already familiar with, right? Practicing guitar, uploading on YouTube, bringing CDs and so on. At the same time though, just like winning lotteries in life, what do you have to do? What do we have to do to even win a lottery? We have to get our ass out of the door to go buy a lottery, scratch it, and then submit the lottery results to win the prize. And then we have to go back to the store or lottery office and claim the prize. What am I trying to say? Lottery is not earned. It's taxpayers' money. You didn't earn that lottery prize. But even earning unearned things like lottery requires effort, requires us literally leaving our house and putting ourselves out there, let alone making meaningful friendships, relationships, performing on stage, overcoming and moving through, healing through our social anxiety requires tremendous effort and courage as well. And this is the reason why lottery is not going to show up at our doorstep. Our dream girlfriend, our dream boyfriend, future husband and wife, future job promotion, whatever they are, they're not going to just show up at your doorstep and knock, knock. I'm here. I'm your future husband. I'm your future wife. What? That's ludicrous. You get my point, right? That's what Hitori was trying to do. She was praying and putting in her effort, sure. But she was magically and having wishful thinking. That finished right here. Wishful thinking is part of the cognitive distortions. We think that by wishing upon it, our thinking will become reality. It's not true. Because a genie in the bottle is a fantasy. It's not real. We have to make it happen. Full stop. But of course, with the blessings of plot armor, Hitori did have this person, blonde hair girl, did literally show up at this playground by her, I guess, exuding rocker chip vibe. So yes, she did have a happy ending, I suppose. But still, my point stands. We have to go through it. We have to do it. Just like buying lottery. We have to buy the lottery. We have to get out of the door to make it happen.
来てしまった。 ひとりちゃんは下北はよく来る？
あ、いや。
タウンに来れるわけない。ライブハウスもうちょいだから。女子って感じ。ちくますごいし猫背だし。手にいるから。いや、防虫剤の匂いだ。
So all those are self-judgments, definition right here, or inner criticism. Many people who struggle with invisible struggle, like social anxiety, have tremendous and excessive inner criticism. I smell like molds. I'm a closet rock star. She actually exudes real rocker chip vibe, whatever it is. And all these inner criticism, we are beating ourselves down. We are berating ourselves and we're putting us down. So we are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So let's be a little bit nicer, a little bit more gentle, and a little bit more kinder to ourselves. Because if we are not nice to ourselves, if we do not believe in ourselves, like I mentioned earlier, why would anyone else do that for us? Our lives are our lives. We are ultimately responsible to live our lives to become our best versions of ourselves that we are proud of.
歩くペース早い？今日出演するライブハウス。
They kind of look similar. Even that red hair girl from earlier in the hallway, they all kind of have a similar vibe.
あれ、なんか心臓やばい。
でね。
You think it's gonna be a packed
実は結
club?
構運動できる？そっか。
私がライブハウスで演奏。
We're hearing her heart thumping. That's heart palpitation definition right here. It's palpitating, right? Because remember, CBT, right? Cognitive behavior therapy. Our thoughts, our cognitions influence our feelings. She's having all those inner criticism. She's putting herself down. She's judging herself. And what does her heart do? Her heart is now pounding. Now, what is her feelings? She's like, oh my gosh, I'm super nervous. I'm super anxious. And then what is her behavior going to do? She's probably going to make mistakes. She's probably going to stumble, even though she can perform so well to a point. She has 30,000 people subscribed to her channel, which is amazing. Remember, our thoughts influence our feelings, and our feelings influence our behaviors. Or in other way, our feelings influence our thoughts, and our thoughts can also influence our behaviors, for better or worse.
毎日した文化祭ライブを。
Remember, Hitori, Hitori.
ネタをね。
え？
あ、いや。
What Hitori is also doing, we call that positive self-talk or positive self-affirmation. Definition right here. Positive self-affirmation is affirming ourselves. We got this. We can do it. Think about our dreams. Think about our future. Think about our goals. Positive affirmation. And it's from the field of positive psychology. Definition right here. Positive psychology is a relatively new field. I would say in the last 10, 20, maybe even 30, but 10, 20 years. Positive psychology suggests that people who are good at almost like self-hypnotizing and reinforcing positive thinking, positive beliefs, tend to perform better in life, in school, and work. That's confidence. Having confidence in ourselves and affirming ourselves by praising our positive and good things about us, we tend to do better. Because remember, it could be a vicious cycle or the flip side. It could be a virtuous cycle. But positive psychology is not to be confused with toxic positivity syndrome right here. Toxic positivity syndrome. Positive psychology does not mean denying and invalidating our difficult circumstances by pretending that everything is fine. No, no, no. That's why toxic positivity does not work. If anything, it's only invalidating. But positive psychology suggests that through actions, through techniques, through therapy or otherwise, we can reframe and transform our negative beliefs about ourselves to something more positive, something more affirming. So that's what Hitori is doing. Think about future. I got this. I'm the rocker chick vibe and so on.
頼む相手間違ったって思われてませんように頼む相手間違えたか
Uh-oh.
ここだよおはようございます
Oh, nice. Nice. Nice setup.
初ライブハウスこの暗さ圧迫感落ち着くひとりちゃん
Nice.
大丈夫私の家違うよ今回も BA さんねそこにいるのが PA さん切ってすみません急にどうしたやっと帰ってきたりょう的に公園にいたギタリストだよへえ怖っ睨まれてる
Miraculous happenstance, aka the writers hooked you guys up with that plot armor.
この子はベースの山田
Ooh, nice.
大丈夫だからりょうは表情が出そういえば店長が時間まで練習しとけって
Hmm? Ooh, her sister. Ooh.
帰ってくる前にスタジオ行こうひとりちゃん
Aww. What a warm, welcoming group of people.
たくさん待っている気が
Real life is scary, but I feel like there's some fun stuff coming out. Like a caterpillar coming out of their cocoon and their shell to become a blossoming butterfly. Exactly right. Bingo.
これ今日のセットリストとスコアバンドメンバーはこれで全員だよ私たち今回はインストバンドだから
Wow.
この曲ならいける
They are multi-instrumentalists. Very, very skilled and talented group of people.
でもボーカルいない分演奏頑張らないと私ギターうまいらしいしやれるはず
Yes, you can. Ganbatte. Fighting. Jayo.
ゴリラ
Hitori's doing that to like physiologically calming her nerves. I don't know how much that helps. It's not really evidence-based technique as part of social anxiety treatment, I suppose. But hey, whatever works, right? So she's like giving herself, like she's giving her that assurance. It's like part of the self-affirmative, self-affirmation practice.
聞いたら二人とも驚くかもだってネットだと結構いや割と評判いいし登録者数3万人だし
Come on, hype yourself up. You got this.
やってやるそれじゃ
Shred it. Come on, what's... Show us. Please, Hitori. Please. Uh-oh. Oh, no. She did it?
下手だ
Oh, no.
なんで私ギター
Oh?
バンドは生身の人間と呼吸を合わせることがと
Oh, I see, I see. Oh, makes sense.
もバンドになるとミジンコイカ最弱になるのだ
Ah. She is sub-water flea level. I've never heard those words together. I'm going to start using that. Bro, you good? You're sub-water flea level, dude. You don't know what that means? Look it up and watch Bocchi the Rock. Makes sense, though. She's a very, very great solo player, but a band is like a sports. It's like a team sport. Being the best player on the team, sure, it helps. For your guitar solo session, you can shred that guitar. You can shine. But majority of the time, it's a team sport. It's a group effort. It's about team cohesion. And Hitori doesn't have that because she's never played with the bands, despite hundreds and thousands of hours of practice she put in.
トンゴトです売れないお笑い芸人みたいな人出てきたこうして後藤一人は灰となりもう二度とギターを持つ
Oh, Hitori died. The ends. Wait, what?
ちょ
Hold on. Oh, yo, this show is good.
本番始まっちゃうよやっぱりできません
しょうがないよ、即席バンドなんだし。私だ
Is Hitori hiding in a trash bin? What is that? Or is that an instruments equipment bin?
ってそんな上手くないし。私はうまい。
I like that confidence.
MC でも全くお役に立てないですし。バンド名くらい覚えて帰ってもらえる。
すいません、ロックすぎる。
I am a disgrace to my family and the bands. Obviously, that's an ancient Japanese practice where a lot of samurai soldiers, they would off themselves as a sign of disgrace or defeat. Anyway, that's a very dry sense of humor, which I appreciate. But it's very dark.
大丈
Wow.
夫。一人がやじられたら私がベースでポムってするから。
Nice.
ロック免罪符すぎる。それに
Let's rock.
うちのバンド見に来るの。2時間だけだから。普通の女子高生に演奏の良し悪しとかわかんないって。
炎上しそうな発言。
だから安心せい。
ごめんなさい。
けど無理強いするもんじゃない。だよね。
That's true.
無理なお願いしてごめん。あ、いやそこは
ほんと。で、だから普段はカバー曲ネットに上げたり。
普段は何弾くの？
あ、結成した時すぐ対応できるようにここ数年の嬉し。結局こんな感じになって、やっぱり私には誰かとバンド組むなんて。
ねえって知ってる？多分私らとそんな年変わらないんだけど。私
That's
知ら
you.
ないなら後で URL 送るよ。もう最高にうまいから聞いてみて。最高。お
Psycho.
すすめに何度も上がってくるから見たことあるけど、すごくうまかった。ネー
Wow.
ミングセンスはちょっと痛いけど。私フォローして新着通知もオンにしてるん
Wow.
だ。いつか一緒に演奏してみたいな。
Hey, if you're enjoying my in-depth analysis, right? Because I don't do superficial reactions. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notifications. If they do that to Guitar Hero Hitori, please do that for me. Anyway.
何が言いたいかっていうと、うまくて話題の人もね、私たちが見てないところでたくさんギターを弾いてきたんだろうなって。
True.
現実世界の人たちは誰も私なんか興味ない
But
と
they
思
do.
ってた。
Yes.
あれ？ひとりちゃん？
Oh, it's
こんな
validating.
優しい人がずっと見ていてくれて。
一生怒らない。絶対無駄にしちゃダメだ。
You got this. I'm in.
出てくれる気になったとか？
Hi.
ひとりちゃん？
頭では分かってる。でもやっぱり怖い。お客さんの目線も耐えられるわけが。
怖いならこれに入って演奏したら？
Hmm?
いつも弾いてる環境と同じです。
どんなところに住んでるの？
皆さん、仕事で盛り上げて。
そういえばライブでなんて紹介する？
いや、それはじゃあではとかおい
Oh
それあ
no.
だ名じゃない。
関係はもっとことが。
一人。
Bocchi.
ぼっちです。
喜んでるし。
あだ名とか初めてで。
結束バンドだよ。
Kesoku? What does that mean? Zip tie?
なんで？可愛いよね。
はい。
バンド名は後回しで、そろそろ出番だよ。大丈夫。下手でも 楽しく弾くことだけは心がけ
Yes.
よ
Yes.
音ってものすごく
Yes.
感情が現れやすいからはい技術を求めていくのは次からで全然いいよ
Just have fun.
次ってよし、
Right.
行こう、私次もいていいんだ
All right, so before the performance, man, there was a lot there, so I didn't really want to interrupt and just finish that whole scene. I want to highlight 3 very important themes that were highlighted from that scene. First, power of affirmations and validation. She finally realized that yes, she has 30,000 subscribers that watch her, that comments, that engages, that appreciates her skills online. But she finally made the connection between internet, aka YouTube, to real life. Because yes, she garnered such a following and engagements and whatever, right? But in her mind, they're so separated. It's internet and one is real life. But internet is comprised of people from real life. It's people like you and I that watch other videos, period. So that was a huge connection and realization for Hitori. Shout out to the friends. Second thing, this talks about the importance of incremental progress. Like I talked about, incremental exposure per exposure therapy. It is almost impossible, although I did say I am possible is impossible. It's extremely difficult going from 0 to 100. Can you imagine from not doing any cardio, doing no marathon training, to running your first marathon straight out the bed after we're just stationary and doing whatever, right? Not exercising much. That's what Hitori is going through. Going from playing in the closet at the comfort of her own home and privacy, only uploading covers to people online, to finally practicing with the bands who are comprised of strangers she just met earlier today, to now performing on stage in a club with other strangers. This is not just a leap. This is like landing on the moon. It is a massive jump. This is a reason why incremental progress and incremental exposure, little bit by little bit by little bit, is the way to go. The final thing I would say is this is the power of people believing in you and encouraging you. Hitori didn't have that until now. And one of them or both of them happened to be her fans and subscribers online, which helped a lot. But to close out my analysis for that scene, it's the power of play, having fun. Guys, my philosophy in life is to minimize regrets. Because regrets are very sticky. Regrets are like poison. It sips away at us and it lingers for a long, long, long time. We all remember those regrets, right? Could be 10 years ago, could be 20 years ago, could be last year, could be last week. We all have those regrets. So that's my goal in life. It's not about the outcome. We never control the outcome. But we can only control the efforts we put in. And by putting in the effort, we get to minimize and hopefully eliminate our regrets. That's what the friends were telling Hitori. Who cares about playing well? We can practice our skill sets next time. But today, just have fun with it. Because once Hitori tasted fun and having joy performing on stage, guess what? That's going to reinforce her behavior. It's part of behaviorism, definition. Behaviorism, or we call that conditioning. State-dependent learning, definition right here. State-dependent learning. We can associate our certain psychological state and our mood and feelings to a certain task. So by Hitori having fun on stage, regardless of the outcome, next time she's nervous and she struggles with social anxiety, she's going to remember the state-dependent learning that, oh yeah, last time I played, I had fun. So maybe this time I will have fun again. This show is extremely psychologically sound and very, very accurate clinically with social anxiety. No wonder all of you guys recommended me, and this show won the poll for my next series.
はじめまして傑作バンドです
Oh,
いつもの実力出せなくて最悪だけど
yeah.
私今日最高に輝いて
人生で一番惨めかも
I I am dead.
MC 滑ってたね。
何
Bocchi. Oh, before.
何の宣言？目覚ましい成長。
Such growth.
よーし、じゃあ今からぼっちちゃん歓迎会兼ライブの反省会だ。今日は人と話しすぎて疲れたので帰ります。ごめん、眠い。失礼します。
The difference in introverts and extroverts. I'm sure Hitori, aka Bocchi the Rock, is absolutely exhausted and fatigued and drained mentally, emotionally, and also physically. Because remember, she literally just, not literally, she symbolically and metaphorically just ran a marathon after not running at all. So imagine the amount of bed rest and recovery she needs. But last thing I'll say is Bocchi the Rock, aka Hitori, just said it. She made this very dramatic declaration that before our performance next time, I'm gonna conjure up the courage to say hello to my classmates. And guess what? The friends, they understood it. They're like, oh yeah, Hitori struggled with social anxiety. She's made no friends. She didn't even have any nicknames, because nicknames require people to call you and they need to know you to call you nicknames, right? So they appreciated the sentiment and the importance behind that declaration. So they're like, oh, what a growth, right? But that's what Hitori just said. She's like, oh yeah, today was too much, but I can improve and expose myself to this discomfort incrementally, just a little bit, by saying hello. Amazing. There's no ties. Great show.
絶対コミュ障直してギターヒーローの私として
Yeah. You got this.
お父さん結束バンドのために
Kesoku bands. Yo, the more confident she is inside, the more nervous she's on the outside. Hilarious. I'm definitely gonna finish this series. I already fell in love with the series so far, with the depiction of social anxiety, the invisible struggle, but also the fact that there is hope once we summon our courage to fly and out of our cocoon, our shell, and become beautiful blossoming butterflies, because we all can transform, and there is hope of renewal and opportunity to be better for every single one of us. Full stop. If you enjoy my analysis, make sure you're subscribed. Like I said, you want to make sure my videos show up on your feed with the change of algorithm. Smash that thumbs up. And before you leave, what's one thing you learned from today's video? Anything that stood out to you? And if you have any more questions, let me know. I'll read all my comments and I'll follow up with other helpful resources or whatever information I might have. I appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, peace.